Welcome to the Free to Play podcast. My name is Brent, and alongside me is my faithful life companion, Andrew Hullabaloo Baloo Baloo Baloo.
Yeah, that's how my last name is said. Hey, everybody, how's it going? How are you on this fine whenever you're listening to this?
I'm going pretty good, man. Even though you
That's
meant
good to
even though
know.
you meant the listeners. I don't really have an opening this week. I didn't really figure out what to do. So I guess I can start by saying so how'd last week go, guys?
We're a little week behind due to technical difficulties that have nothing to do with any viruses or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, just like I don't know. I guess last week happened and like we barely had communicated. I guess we both kind of just decided to vibe. Had some things
Yeah,
going on in our lives. We had to take care of it and just kind of vibe, play some games.
yeah.
But we're back to give you the tasty news. We have a couple things from last week, just the big ones. All the small ones got kind of pushed away. The big ones we're still gonna talk about, like Amazon Luna and then Bethesda getting bought by Microsoft. We also have
Oh yeah, that happened.
we also have one thing that most people probably aren't gonna talk about, and then another thing that most people are talking about, just in a negative light. But we're gonna talk about it in a positive light because today this is the Free to Play podcast. We usually put it out every Monday, and you can follow our socials at the Free to Play. I don't remember.
Are you having a little trouble with that Twitter handle there, my guy?
Yes. Okay. So at Twitter, we are the F2P _ podcast, the Free to Play podcast. And on Instagram, I think we're Free to Play podcast. Go check us out. Check us out on YouTube. Everything's in the description. Check me out on GG. Check Andrew out on GG.
I post there sometimes.
Yeah. I'm too addicted to it. I joined Elite the other day. I was like, I have to, man. I need to be able to like pin list to my account. I'm also
Is
like,
Elite good?
yeah, I like Elite. There's like some cool things with it, but also just like I really enjoy the app and I like the dude that made it and I love the community. Like I'm a big part of the Discord now. Like I've been hanging around their Discord server. They have a new thing where they made a book club for games.
Oh
So
yeah, I read about that.
it's pretty cool. I joined it. We're doing Soma this month. So I was like, why not give them my $5 for Elite? I'm really enjoying this app.
Cool.
Yeah.
No, that's really neat, bro. I'm glad for you that you're enjoying your time here.
If you guys can't tell, we're really tired.
Yeah, we're
we
recording
had
this a little later than we usually do, so apologies in advance if we're if we seem a little out of it or a little more unfocused than usual.
mhm. Yeah, it's like we've had 2 weeks to prepare, and yet we just finished the show notes 30 minutes ago.
It's been a couple weeks. We can say that much.
Anyway, Andrew, what have you been playing this week?
Uh, okay, so my 3DS game of the week. Nah, I've been playing some more BioShock 2. I finished it up. Really trying to get all those achievements. I gotta find some time to do a playthrough of like the hardest difficulty, which that's gonna be fun. Cause yeah, I'm a completionist or an aspiring completionist. I recently ran through the DLC of Minerva's Den, which was pretty good in its own right. It does a couple neat little things. You're playing as another Alpha series Big Daddy, named Subject Sigma instead of Subject Delta. Um, Clear difference there. You're like in this place called Minerva's Den, and it's basically where like a lot of Rapture's like central computing and technological advancements and stuff are made and stored and generally located. So you're fighting a lot of scientist splicers and stuff, and your goal is to get the blueprints for this fucking big, old, powerful supercomputer called the Thinker. and get away from Rapture with that whole thing. And you get access to a couple of unique weapons, like the ion laser, which is a literal laser gun. You just hold it down, and you fire a continuous laser beam at all of your enemies. You also get a unique plasmid, which is the gravity well plasmid, which I never used. I think it's pretty. I think it's actually pretty useful though, because it's like one of those kinds of things where you throw it, and it's like this little polyp, like with the hypnotize and enrage plasmids. You got this little ball of this fucking fluid energy stuff, and this one is like all a straight black, and you just throw it, and then after a little bit it'll detonate, and it'll basically be like its own little black hole where it'll pull everything into it. So that probably includes enemies and stuff too. I'm a little ashamed of the fact that I never actually wound up using it, because I just always use Electrobolt and sometimes Incinerate, because I don't know how to do variety. Uh, but it was pretty good. It was pretty fun. Unlike the main game of the second game, there was actually like a little twist at the end, which was not like a super like phenomenal twist. Like it wasn't BioShock 1's level of twist, which was like widely regarded as one of the biggest twists in all of gaming history. But it was, it's one that you could see coming a mile away. It's one of those, but it's not bad. I think it led up to it pretty well. I don't really hear a lot of complaints about it being a bad twist or nothing. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. I just wrapped up, I think, all the achievements for that DLC. So now all that's left is just go through the Protector Trials DLC and then do another playthrough of the main game on the hardest difficulty and try to wrap up the remainder of the achievements.
So have you gotten everything in the first BioShock?
That's a good question. I have not. I almost have. That's another one where I have to go through the game again on the hardest difficulty, but I'm probably gonna do the cheat on that if it hasn't been patched, where you just change the difficulty to the hardest setting at like the last possible second just before the final cutscene plays, because I'm gonna be honest. I wanna move on to different things, but I also really want that achievement. And I think there are a couple of general achievements, like I have to kill a certain amount of enemies using only traps. And then I think I still have a little bit of a handful of achievements left to do for the Challenge Rooms DLC, which is basically like these three different challenges that limit your weapons and your plasmids, and you have to do like specific tasks and stuff with them, and you have to think outside the box for shit. Like there's like this one thing where you have to use the winter blast to freeze a Big Daddy and use him as a platform to get to like one of the you invent materials you need to make a thing that'll allow you to hack a door, that'll allow the Big Daddy to go into a room full of turrets, and then those turrets will kill the Big Daddy so you can get the little sister, and then that's the whole challenge. I'm not going to go over all of them, but it's basically stuff like that, so I got to get all the achievements for those, because you get achievements for initially doing the challenge, and then you get another achievement for finding all the hidden roses in each of the challenges, and then you get an achievement for beating the challenge in a certain amount of time. So I still gotta do all that.
Sounds like you better get on it, man. You need to get off this podcast and go, like, platinum BioShock 1.
Platinum, yeah, on the Steam achievements. Sure thing, buddy.
Hey, get that little ribbon.
Because Steam achievements matter.
That's the thing. It's like, that's one reason I went back to PlayStations, because like I was trying to grind for Steam achievements. Like I was doing that on Doom Eternal recently, and I was just like, this doesn't feel as good as getting a platinum.
Yeah, it's
like,
not as rewarding at all.
Like I still want 100% of achievements, Steam achievements on Terraria, but it's like after that, it's like I'm not really gonna grind it as much as I find myself grinding on PlayStation.
Right. I think PlayStation and Xbox do a pretty decent job. Xbox has like the collective like gamer score that you get for each individual achievement, so there's a little less emphasis on like really trying to like get everything in every game, but just getting a good amount of stuff in a lot of games to accumulate a big gamer score. And then you got PlayStation, which its whole system with like the trophies, and then the platinum trophy seems to like encourage more completionist kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're more rewarding than Steam achievements.
That's for sure. Steam achievements are just kind of a thing that are there, and you kind of just put up with.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you've been playing or doing that, like, these past 2 weeks?
No, it's been a straight grind through the BioShock games. Because I really want all those achievements, even though they won't mean anything. And I'm probably going to do the same thing if I ever get, like, if I ever get more consoles again, and then I get the games for those consoles, I'm probably going to do it again because I have a problem.
Dude, I feel that. That's like me recently getting into my stuff with Assassin's Creed. It's like that's kind of how I've been going through trying to get all the platinums for all the games. I've only gotten it for Assassin's Creed 2. And I'm working on Brotherhood, but I decided that I didn't like that slog that much, so I'm just going to move on. Like, I'm still going to platinum it, but I just want to beat some more games before I go back and start platining them all. So
a little bit of burnout.
Yeah, kind of. It's like I want to beat some more stories and then go back and platinum. So I beat Assassin's Creed Revelations and 3 in the same day, Andrew.
Oh yeah.
The same
that
day.
Grind?
Okay, I got to be a little bit honest with you though. Like Revelations was already close to being done. And then so I beat that, and then I went to 3, which I had already had a save state on the remaster. And I had already played it within the last year, so I wasn't gonna redo it. And I had like 4 or 5 sequences left of that, so I beat all those in that day, and then I moved on to Liberation. Which
Gotcha.
Liberation, even on the remaster, still feels like a Vita game. Like it's still kind of rough. I guess
Is that the one where you had a female protagonist?
Yeah, and that's the one where you had the 3 personas.
Yeah, I know what those are.
No, basically she just like there's 3 different personas in the game, and you have to go up to like a changing booth to change into them. There's the slave, the assassin, and the lady. So like obviously the assassin's your normal assassin, and then slave is when you go undercover into like slave camps and like liberate them and kind of like get information. And then lady is like you're wearing a dress, so you can't really climb or anything, but like that's how you charm people. And then you do like most of your normal errands and stuff throughout the day. And that persona, it's like it's a neat idea. It's just like I'm still not sold on it. It's just kind of annoying to go back to the like little like changing booth and change all the time.
Yeah. Maybe a little more variety could have helped to really sell the fact that, like, the whole deceitful side of, being the assassin or whatever by, like, actually being in a bunch of different disguises instead of, like, 2 of them.
Yeah, because, like, the concept is cool. It's just, like, they didn't expand on it as much as they really could have. It just kind of feels like a chore. I
can get that.
I want to say, replaying the series, especially ending with 3, I don't think it's possible to list the amount of times I've said, holy shit, this series used to be cool.
Oh yeah, with its ending.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of like pulled me out. Like I wasn't even a fan or really like invested in the series, and that ending like kind of threw me for a bit of a loop when it happened.
Mm.
Because I didn't know a lot about the series, but I knew I knew Desmond was like a pretty integral character.
Yeah, just all 5 of those original games, those first 5 games, all had so many holy shit, this used to be good moments. Where it's like, the series has gone down, like, so downhill, where it's like, I like all the games except Odyssey. And even the first one, I have some issues with, but I still enjoy it. Like, I don't replay it as much as the others because the gameplay is kind of boring. But, like, I like the world. I like the characters, the setting, all that. I enjoy it. Odyssey's the only one I dislike. But even that being said, it's like besides, I don't know, it's just those first 5 games had so much lore, so much wonder, mystery. Like they knew where they were going with it. They knew they were going to this big climax with the whatchamacallit, the
Apple of Eden or whatever.
yeah, and the first Civ and all that. Like they had this plan, and then now with they just use the first Civ as like, hey, remember Assassin's Creed? Juno's still here. Like, okay, what are you doing with it though? Like, yes, Juno shows up in Black Flag. Oh, she shows up in Syndicate. I mean, her showing a Black Flag makes sense because of the Sage being there, but it's like, oh, she shows up in Syndicate. What are you doing with it though? Like, we get you're still here, but you're supposedly slaving mankind. That's supposedly your goal. When are you gonna enslave mankind? You know, like when will we have to fight you again? You're just kind of there. In the old ones, it was like they would pop up and it would, at least for me, it would always be a holy shit moment. Like, it would always be a this is fucking cool thing. I know a lot of people hate Desmond. They want to get back to their ancient history machine, which I hate that criticism. Like, the modern day, at least in the first 5 games, were as important to the story as the ancient history stuff was. Like, to me, that is what I love, the ancient history stuff, but that to me, the modern day stuff is what solidified this whole experience as my favorite franchise. You know, because obviously I like it for the anime stuff, like that's the bulk of it. But the modern day was enough to tie in everything and just wrap it in a bow of holy shit, this is cool.
Right.
So like when you get to that, when you play the Revelations, for starters, the whole game is just cool, especially like when you get brought back into Animus Island with Desmond and Subject 16. Yeah, 16 because Desmond's 17. With Subject 16. God, with Desmond and Subject 16. But like with the two of them, it's like them talking and like it being like a catastrophic event, and like you're finally seeing Clay out there kind of just like freaking out, and like him being trapped inside the Animus. That shit's cool. And then you get to the end of Revelations where it's all like wrapping together, and like the end of Ezio's story is pretty much being tied with telling the end of Altair's, and you get that moment. I don't. Do you care if I spoil it?
I don't mind, but I guess put a spoiler warning.
Spoiler warning if you haven't beat Revelations or any of the other first 5 Assassin's Creed games.
I think Revelations was one of the few games that I actually beat, but I don't remember how it ended.
It's basically like when you get to that moment at the end. So in Assassin's Creed 2, one of the coolest moments was when Minerva is talking to Ezio in the chapel, and then she turns to the side, like she turns away from Ezio.
Does she refer to Desmond directly?
Yes, and she's like, Desmond, and then Ezio's like, who is this Desmond? Like, it's the coolest shit ever. So in Revelations, like Ezio starts monologuing. He's like, and you, Desmond, I don't know if you're there or what, but you've been following me like a shadow. I've felt your presence in my mind like this whole time, kind of thing. Like, you've always eluded me, but if you're listening, here's what I have to say, kind of thing. It's like, it's so fucking cool. Like, they knew what they were doing back then, you know?
That does sound pretty neat.
It gives me hope because the same writer is on Valhalla right now, and he keeps hyping up the games, like the new game. So like, it gives me hope. I just still don't think it'll be able to match what those first 5 games did. And that's not to say Black Flag is bad. Black Flag's amazing. One masterclass of games, I would say. I just like, it's still a good Assassin's Creed game. I'm not trying to say it's a good pirate game and not a good Assassin's Creed game, but it's a good ancient history side of Assassin's Creed game. It didn't have that modern day to tie it in and make it really cool. Like I said, I understand Juno being in there. Like that part of it was kind of cool with like the sages and everything, that tying in to like them researching sages in the Caribbean with like Edward Kenway. That stuff was cool. Learning out about Juno's husband, seeing Juno at the end, kind of cool. But it still wasn't like the magic of the first 5 games.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I don't want to rant about it too long.
Yeah, Brent, I think we might have found your 3DS games.
Bro, you knew that. Give me talking about Assassin's Creed and I won't shut up. That and like Doom, like Witcher,
Right.
I'll talk about. Moving on, I guess. Avengers, not much to say about it, but I'm still playing it. I'm still assing up with Chad, Dallas, and Matt. We're still kind of like playing. I think Chad officially retired from it though because he hit max level. So we're deciding to like once we all hit like, kind of like max power level on it, we're gonna put the game down and kind of just play other games until new content comes out for it. So I think Chad officially kind of retired from it. So I'll probably keep playing with Matt and Dallas until we finally.
Is there a story that you've completed?
Yeah, the story's done. Like, there's the campaign, and then it launches into the multiplayer side of it, where you play a bunch of like multiplayer missions, and you can play those as many times as you want. So that's kind of the gameplay loop right now. Is kind of like just playing those multiplayer missions and getting gear and leveling up your character. I think the max power level is 150, and my cap is at 132. Once you get to 140, though, that's the soft cap. So that means you don't get gear that drops past 140. So what you have to do is just upgrade the gear you have and kind of like fine tune it. It's more of a grind than before to get to those last 10 power levels. But that's kind of the plan right now, and then I'll put it down and kind of wait until new content drop.
Gotcha.
And then I'll talk about Lego Harry Potter years 1 through 4 real quick. Not much to say on it. I kind of just like, I used to be so obsessed with Lego games. Like my stepdad is a huge fan of them. He used to like, I think he has like 24 platinum trophies or something, and they're all Lego games. Like he was like a huge fan of all of those. So kind of like going into it, he would always platinum it. And I was on Xbox at the time, so I would want to do it too. And I did it with Lego Marvel and Lego Batman 3. I got 100%, but it's just like it never felt as good as a platinum trophy. So I kind of just stopped. So now like I've been on PS4 for a while, but now I kind of am finally like, you know what? I want to go platinum some Harry Potter games and some Lego games. I can't talk. I'm so tired. God. But I was like, I want to go platinum some Lego games. So Harry Potter, the collection was on sale for $5. So I'm kind of going through that, playing it literally right before we started recording. I beat the first year. So that's cool. Lastly, the last thing I want to talk about though is I haven't put much time into it yet, but I want to talk about it, especially getting early, because I'm going to talk about it later in the week, next week. Hopefully I will have put some hours into it. Greedfall. Greedfall is a game that came out about a year ago, maybe like within the last year. Probably about 6 months ago, if I'm being more accurate. Because I think it came out when I was like at my apartment. I haven't been there a year yet. It's almost a year. So it's a game that I've been really excited for. It dropped on PC and I was like, this looks so fucking cool. It looks like an RPG I could really get into. Like I'm really into the idea of that game. So I never got it because I didn't know. I was playing so many games at the time and I didn't know if I wanted to drop 60 on it. But it was always a game that I never saw a lot of people talking about, but it was an RPG I really wanted to play. So I was like, hey, this could be like a fun RPG to kind of like, and hopefully if I like it, I could be the like spokesperson for it. So I was at a game store yesterday. I traded in some games that had some in-store credit, and I saw Greedfall there for $20, and I was like, you know what? I'll grab it. It was on PS4, and I was like, the case looks cool. I'm looking at it, and I'm like, maybe this will finally be when I get into it. So I copped it. I went home. I started playing it. I've played it for 25 minutes, and I turned it off.
10 out of 10, best game ever.
10 out of 10. But I'm going to play more of it. I don't want to leave it there because that would be the most disservice thing you could do, you know? A huge disservice. But so far, my early impressions were just, it felt so wonky. Like, I think the. I don't know if it's a bad PS4 port or what, because when the game came out, the RPG channels I follow, like, said the game was good. You know, they enjoyed it. So, well, it had some problems, obviously, because it was a smaller studio, but it's a fun game. So that's kind of what I was like, okay, I'll play it. So I don't know if it's a bad PS4 port, but like there's a lot of things that pulled me out of it. Like the voice acting wasn't synced to the lips,
Mm,
so like that kind of like takes you out of it a little bit. The controls are kind of
it really
wonky.
does.
Yeah, it really can. Like there's a way to fake like lips into looking like they're moving enough to where it's fine. But if you don't do that and they completely don't sync up, it can really take you out of an experience.
Is it just behind in sync, or is it like the lip mocap is like a like just like the bass on the wall where it's like just open and closed pretty much?
Yeah, it's like that. Like it's not like it's behind a second. It's like literally not on sync. Like
Damn.
it's just moving. So that on top of also the combat system just feeling so wonky, and then the whole game can just be described by wonk. Honestly, like it's just kind of that's what I'm feeling on the game right now, and it sucks to have a game that I was so highly anticipating just like put me off within 20 minutes.
Mm.
And even if also feels like it has this graphical haze, it doesn't look that good either. Which is I'm playing on a base PS4, but like I know so many games that look amazing on my base PS4. Like
Yeah.
it was kind of funny. Like I got booted back into the game and it showed me the HDR signal. I was like, bro, this game has HDR. I wouldn't have known. Like it definitely doesn't show like it has any good ounce of good graphics or anything at all. So it does suck to come here and say these type of things about this game because of how hyped I was. So I hope I can come back next week and say I was completely wrong and that the game is amazing. But I'm not going to force myself into that if it's not the case. We'll have to wait and see. I hope I can come back and say it was amazing. But, it's just kind of how I'm feeling right now.
Right. Hey Brent, guess what?
What?
We managed to do that in about 30 minutes.
Holy shit, that's a miracle.
We're getting more efficient.
I guess if you don't have anything else to say before we get to the news, here's a word from our sponsor. All right, we're back.
Yeah, hi, welcome back. Did you enjoy whatever might have played during that time? I hope you did. I hope it was to your liking. I hope it spoke to you and that you maybe clicked it or something.
Me too, man. Anyway, let's get into. I almost don't want to talk about this one because like it's kind of like a meh thing that I don't think we're gonna be able to talk about much. But I'm gonna go ahead and read something about Amazon Luna. Amazon recently announced it. I got this article from CNET from Eli Blumenthal. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name.
Will you link the article in the description below? It's important to cite your sources.
I will do that. That's exactly why I said I got it from CNET. But
But you gotta do it in writing too.
True. Yeah, I'll link the article below. I took out a few excerpts. I guess I'll go ahead and read all of this real quick. Amazon is getting into gaming. During Amazon's big device announcement event on Thursday, the internet giant unveiled Luna, its cloud-based video game streaming service for Fire TV, phones, tablets, and computers that rivals Microsoft's xCloud and Google Stadia. A Luna Plus subscription will cost $5.99 per month as a part of an invite-only early access program. A controller designed for the service will also be sold with early access pricing of $50. Though gamers will also be able to use an Xbox One or PlayStation DualShock 4 controller, as well as a keyboard and mouse to play. Running on Amazon servers, games will stream up to 1080p resolution and 60 frames per second at launch, with 4K support teased as coming soon. Though a full list of titles wasn't immediately available, The company says that games available in the early access period will include Control, Resident Evil 7, Grid, Yooka-Laylee, The Impossible Lair, and Brother: A Tale of Two Sons. Ubisoft will be among the early notable publishers on the platform, including bringing Assassin's Creed Valhalla to Luna, although no timeline was given for when games would arrive. Beyond again coming soon. That's how much I kind of like wrote like down. There's some more on the article, but that's kind of the main thing I got from it. The main takeaway though is Amazon's getting into game streaming service. I think that was kind of obvious. Like they teased a while that they were getting into video games. I
Hmm.
think I think it's smart, right? If you're going to do it, don't launch a box. I think the box market is already. I'll get into negatives in a minute, but I just want to say the box market is already kind of diluted. Like no one's going to buy another console. They already know whether they want Nintendo, Sony, or Xbox. Atari's coming with the VCS thing again. Gonna flop. Doesn't matter. Sega's out
What's
of the.
VCS stand for?
I don't know.
All right, cool. We're knowledgeable.
Dude, even if you're knowledgeable, you don't have to know anything about the Atari VCS. That thing's dumb.
You know what? True. True enough.
But yeah, it's like Atari's already out of the game. Sega's out of the game. It's like, unfortunately, it's kind of how it is. Those three are really the ones that lasted in the console market. So if you're going to come into it, you probably don't have to come into the gaming market. But if you're going to, game streaming is the way to do it. So I don't, I'm not surprised that Amazon's getting into game streaming. And I saw a lot of people kind of like dogging on for it, saying it's going to be terrible. Don't get it twisted. Just because Google Stadia failed, that doesn't mean game streaming is a bad idea. It's a amazing, fantastic idea. We just
Hmm.
need someone to pull it off. With Stadia hasn't done that yet. And so for the one takeaway I can get from this is that Amazon seeming to kind of like not fall into too many traps as Google Stadia because they're not promising that much. Because they've said 1080p 60 frames per second is what it's streaming up to right now with 4K teases coming soon. Google Stadia was pretty much like, yeah, 4K, that's what you're going to get. And then later on they're like, yeah, behind the service. And then later on they're like, yeah, certain games. And later on they're like, yeah, maybe not now, kind of thing. So it's like Amazon coming out and saying, oh, we're just 1080p. Our service is just so you can play it, streaming right now. Okay, say that. Like, that is a perfect thing to say. Because Luna and or Stadia and even xCloud are, for most people, are not going to be console, what's the word, replacements. It's going to be something where I'm out, and I want to play a game. Let's just say I play on PlayStation, but it doesn't matter. I want to play a new game. I don't care about my save progress. I'll get on my phone, boot up Luna, Stadia, xCloud, doesn't matter. I'll start playing a game. It also could be for people that can't really have Wi-Fi but can't afford a console, but that's besides the point. It's mostly for people that are like out and about or something, or want to do something where they need streaming. Maybe you're on a business trip or something. You don't have to pack a console or your PC or something. That's kind of what it's for. So I think it's a good idea. We just need somebody who can kind of like pin that down and make it digestible and make it seem like something you want, which is what Microsoft is doing with xCloud, because xCloud is an amazing value and an amazing service. I hope Amazon can do that. I want Amazon to be able to have a successful product. I think within saying this, I know Google had something like it, but hear me out. They've said it's going to be integrated with Twitch, which is a big thing because they own Twitch. Now I know Google owns YouTube, and they said it was going to have integration with YouTube, so take it with a grain of salt. But I can see Twitch being a better thing because Twitch already is a gaming site. I could see they already do cool things. They already have, like with gaming, with Prime subscriptions. They already have like a tab where you click down. They have a game like launcher already where they give you free Prime games and stuff. Like, they are already known to do things with games, so I could see their Luna integration be like working and being cool, you know? You can
Right.
talk. You can talk now.
Thank you. um, yeah, I'm a spectator in this whole game, right? So I'm just over here watching things from the scenes. Like I'm just gonna see for myself whether or not these things succeed or if they flop. I think it's good that these companies are like trying this kind of thing. I never really like. I think I was fairly optimistic about Google Stadia when that was a thing. I don't know if I was cautiously optimistic, but I think I had an more optimistic outlook on it. But it didn't do all that well. But then you got XCloud, and now you have Amazon with its whole Luna thing. This is still like a pretty new field, right? Like this is still a relatively new thing. The whole cloud gaming kind of thing, like being able to actively like stream these games at relatively good quality from like any decent like device, whether like even if it's like on some sort of mobile device, like you're on like a business trip or something, as you gave that example earlier. Um, so like it's obviously not going to be like perfect right out the gate. VR wasn't like that either. Remember when fucking Nintendo tried out that Virtual Boy thing? Remember how that went?
Yeah.
And like, granted, that was vastly different. That wasn't something that was anywhere near ready, and it's only coming out now, like many years later. But now we're at this point in time where as we're learning like technology just in general, every more advancements are being made like literally every day at a faster and faster rate. So I think it will take far less time for things like VR and cloud gaming to get to at least a slightly more perfected state. So I'm also pretty hopeful for things like Luna and xCloud. If they do well, then that's great. That's another good thing that we gamers have. But if it flops, well, it's still another step in the direction. It's another opportunity for future endeavors to look back at that and be like, okay, maybe we shouldn't do like this thing right here. Let's try it like this way right here, and then it turns out so much better. It's still a new field, so there's gonna be a lot of like experimental shit going on. So I think it has like equal chance to succeed as it does to like flop, or maybe not so much flop, but like underperform, like in comparison to like how high people may set their expectations. And that's pretty much what I have to say on the
Mm.
matter.
Yeah, I think it's kind of to wrap it up, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a thing where it's not really something you need. So it's easy to kind of be like, "Oh, this sucks. Why are you announcing it? Why should I care about it?" kind of thing. But I think it's a good thing to have and a good thing to explore because yeah, we're not going to care about Luna or Stadia right now. You know, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter. We're going to enjoy our PlayStation, like Switch, Xbox. We're just going to have fun. But come 10, 20 years, it might be the future, And they like 2030, it arises, we're all doing all this and it's because they laid the groundwork in 2020, if you kind of get what I mean. So it's
Right.
like it's probably not going to be amazing right now, but it's they're starting it now. In my mind, they're starting it now so that it has time to grow. It gauges customer response, I guess, and then just see what they can do so that later on it can become a big thing. So I think it's a cool thing now to kind of like look at, but it's definitely going to be something to keep your eye on in the future now that the groundwork is laid to kind of figure out where it's going to go in 10, 20 years. Maybe that will be the future. So it's something to
Right.
look out for. I think Amazon has a shot, just like thought Google had a shot, and I still think Google has a shot to bring it around. If they did a major rebrand and they took everything they promised, they fixed it quietly behind the scenes, and then a year from now they go boom. We know we messed up on our launch, our messaging, everything else, but here's our rebrand. Here's what we're gonna do. here's what you get now. Here's what we're going to do in the future. Here's our big plan. Here's proof that we're trying all these things. Here's a
We swear
roadmap.
it'll actually be good this time.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, here's a roadmap to see like where we're trying to go with it, kind of thing, which they never really did with Stadia. They never even said beta. If they had said this is a beta, I probably would have been a different story. It's like Luna is now saying like, oh, it's an invite only early access thing. Makes sense. You're not launching Luna. Oh, my mic just went kabooey.
Add it to the bloopers.
It's probably staying in, honestly. But like, you're not just launching Luna right now. It's early access, so that makes it like people are gonna get mad if there's a problem, but less mad because of like, okay, I'm a beta tester. So, I guess it's just something to keep your eye on,
Yes.
Moving on, Andrew.
Uh-huh.
The biggest news to ever. Oh my god, I can't even bring myself to say it. I'm just like so overwhelmed with like hype. This is like saying Jesus has come down again. And like this is like if Jesus came back down and he said, "What's up, Brent?" and he gave me the sickest high five. Like that doesn't even compare to this news.
Yeah.
Do you want to say it, Andrew, or should I take it?
You know what? You seem pretty well invested and passionate about this subject, so I'll let you carry it here.
Steven Smash, baby.
Yo, Steve for Smash, the duality of man, the two different energies that we both have.
Dude, it's so okay. God, he's been like my most wanted rep next to EGAD for like so long. And like I've already given up on EGAD. That's kind of dumb. But Steve had a shot and he took his shot. He didn't throw away his shot. He grabbed it.
You could say he shot his shot.
That's true. In seriousness, yes, they held a new fighter thing, and it turned out to be Steve. I was asleep, so unfortunately, I went on YouTube to look it up, and all the thumbnails had Steve in it, But the trailer...
you got spoiled?
Yeah. So it's like, you have to catch these things at launch, because even if you don't go to Twitter, even if you go to YouTube, when you try to search the new character reveal, they're still going to have the thumbnail of Steve on it, so
yeah,
it's not too big of a deal. I was still like, oh shit, what? Maybe it's a troll, and I watched it in the reveal trailer, and it was still really hype,
Yeah, I was lucky enough to watch the video later from like an off-brand source, some random channel, but the thumbnail was just Mario being blasted through the hole, so it didn't look at like anything immediately Minecraft, and it wasn't mentioned in the title. It was just like the new fighter. So I got really lucky there because I watched it without getting spoiled beforehand. So it was all the more surprising when I like fucking saw the spider eyes and I was like, wait, what? And then the Enderman eyes showed up and I was like, oh fuck.
Dude,
it's
I
getting
wish
real now.
It's weird to say because I think it was unexpected, but also expected. Like I always thought Steve had a shot. I think everyone shot him down because they don't want him in it. But I always knew
he was treated as like a meme character. That's how
exactly.
he was treated.
Exactly. Like I knew he had a shot though. Like Minecraft is one of the biggest games. And Nintendo's been a big supporter of it, especially back in the day when crossplay was being talked with Switch and Xbox. Like they were a big supporter of it. So it's
huge,
like
really giving Tetris a run for its money.
Dude, I don't see a Tetris rep.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I bet you Tetris just gets relegated to a Mii costume.
Yeah, fuck Tetris. Stupid ass Mii costume. But yeah, it's like it had a shot, and I think everyone was like clouding their I want this with this won't happen kind of thing. Like, I don't want this, it won't happen. They're confusing those two things because it always had a shot, and this proves it. Like, it's easy to say now that it happened. It's easy to say, like, oh, it had a shot. But, like, I always knew it did. I always, in the back of my head, was like, bro, Steve can make it. Steve has so many things that it would make for a great moveset. they went a different direction than my moveset I had in my head. But it's like that goes to show how much of a good moveset he has, you know? Like how much uniqueness he has that I had a perfect moveset in my head and then they thought something else that also works, you know?
Yeah.
That goes to show how much he has in there that's like able to be taken and made.
It, yeah, like the fucking the demonstration, because the reveal was initially done on the 1st of October, and it was a short little video. So then on the 3rd of October, today, the day that this is being recorded, shortly before this Minecraft Live presentation, which we'll get to later, they gave like the proper fighter demonstration for this character, showing off the move set and all that. And I thought the move set was pretty interesting. It looked cool, but it also looked pretty technical. Like it was a thinking man's game there.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to like the gathering of materials and stuff. Like it seems like it takes a bit of prep work too to initially start, because you like some things I didn't expect were like the fact that you actually have to worry about the durability on your tools, your main method of attack and shit. Like you actually have to worry about that.
I
Which
never
wasn't
thought they would
expecting.
go that direction.
Yeah, neither did I. I was initially thinking, like, because Sakurai was talking about having to rework all the stages to allow for his abilities, and that was primarily for gathering materials and placing blocks. But I thought, I thought it was gonna go so much further. I thought like he was gonna actually be fucking destroying blocks from the stage, and I was gonna be like, how would that work? Because like, what if they just like take the time trying to like fucking destroy every last bit of the stage?
Yeah, I think that would be too much because I already think that like he's a little too much right now, but like
Yeah.
that would be like nail in the coffin, like bruh, chill kind of thing.
Right. But yeah, I was pretty excited to see his move set, and I found it really interesting how they worked some of like the core mechanics of Minecraft into his abilities. Like for example, like the material gathering and subsequent like crafting in order to make your tools and all that jazzaroo. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was interesting. Like you could mine like any part of the stage in order to like get different materials and stuff like that. And for some stages, like the material that the stages themselves were made out of, like Star Fox's airship, and then like the Donkey Kong Country like level, being comprised all of wood
Hmm.
and metal respectively. That those areas would yield like a lot of iron and a lot of wood for those stages in particular.
Okay, so one thing I'm confused about, I guess, is you know how he said like what you just said, like Donkey Kong's thing is gonna be mostly wood, kind of thing. But
Yeah,
you know how he also said that that row right there is always gonna be the same thing.
for the Minecraft stage.
Is it the Minecraft stage?
Yeah, didn't he say in the Minecraft stage like they
Oh,
it
depending on the
transfers
biome.
it transfers through 6 different biomes, but the base level floor is always going to be the same. Like there's going to be like 2 wood blocks that are always placed in the same spots on the stage's floor, etc., etc.
That makes sense. I thought it meant for like every stage.
Nah, and then for like different stage formations, like I don't remember what they're called, but it's like the stage formations where it's basically just like a flat plane and like a couple of platforms and stuff like that. They'll just have like all the materials like just like preset to be exactly the same for all those stage formations instead of having them be unique depending on the terrain.
Hmm. Yeah, that was really cool. I like,
Yeah.
I like how much Steve would have been an easy character to bring in and be like, all right, he's got a sword, he's got a bow, he can like put water out of a bucket, you know, fishing rod kind of thing.
Does he use the bow? I don't think
That's
he uses the bow.
that's the thing. It's like they didn't end up using that, but it would have been so easy to kind of be like, he's got those things, let's use that, and then maybe the elytra, you know, for his recovery. But they went so far Like Sakurai cares about the characters, you know?
Yeah, I was getting a little upset about like people saying that like he seemed like genuinely like fucking disappointed like after the initial reveal and shit, like he wasn't like terribly into it and stuff, and it's like, why wouldn't he be? He always puts like his heart and soul into
Hmm.
everything that he does in these games. Why would it be any different from Steve? Especially when he starts off by saying like, yeah, the Nintendo will come to me like with requests for different characters, but I still can have like the final say so in whether or
Yeah,
not
he can
I
say no.
say yeah. And I think the thing was like he took the inclusion of Steve as more of a challenge than like, I guess I have to do this now, because the way
Yeah.
he phrased it was like this guy came up to him and he was like, surely you can include this character, and he's like, you know what? Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, he was like it's impossible. I'll do it.
Just to prove he could. He was flexing on
Yeah.
Nintendo.
The
He wasn't throwing shade at them. He was just flexing on them.
Yeah, the thing is, right, it's like obviously I don't know exactly the workings of that company, but
Yeah,
from what it's easy to perceive, Sakurai has tenure. Like obviously like Nintendo owns the IP of Smash, but Sakurai isn't some low-level employee, right? Sakurai
they
made
need him in
Smash.
order to make Smash what it is.
Yeah.
It would not be the same. You could like no one, not a lot of people would argue with you that like, they could still make Smash like the way it is without Sakurai being a part of it.
Mhm. Yeah, Sakurai invented Smash along with help from Iwata and stuff, but like Sakurai is the dad of Smash. Like he made that game. He, I'm pretty sure, has the right to be like, no, because Sakurai has said he's had fighters that he wanted in that Nintendo was like, all right, and then Nintendo will also ask him to do some fighters, and he'll say yes or no if he thinks they can work. You know, like I don't think there's ever really Nintendo forcing him to do something unless it's like I could see maybe a conversation being like, "Hey man, like this game's coming out, we would really like this representation, kind of thing." And Sakurai's like, "I don't know," and he's like, "They're like, please, can you do this?" And Sakurai might be like, "All right, fine," but it's like I think for the most part, Sakurai is allowed to say no. Like it's his game. He has tenure in the company. When you get tenure, it's kind of like hard to just be like instantly fired when you don't do something right. So it's kind of like,
Right.
at least that's where I see it. I'm gonna get called an idiot, but whatever. But it's like Sakurai can do what he wants with this game, and then, like I said, he could have went basic with Steve if he didn't care. But Sakurai cares about the characters that get into the games. That's why every time he does a stream of these characters, he's always talking about the history of the games. He's always explaining things about the game and everything. He didn't do it with Minecraft that much because this was like a really long stream, but he kind of did. He even was like, "Hey, I played Minecraft. Here's my world."
Yeah, like, and it was a survival world too, and like he was like, I don't play creative because I don't really like focusing that much on like all the buildings and shit. I just prefer surviving. As he's showing screenshot of these pretty intermediate builds. It was good. It was great stuff.
Yeah, so it's like just from the move set, you could tell he cares. Like he wanted to keep the spirit of crafting and mining and like building the same. Like who would have
Yeah,
thought if Steve got into the game that you would be mining the stage and building like houses and stuff around it. I never expected that. I never expected I would have to craft a new sword. You know.
right. It's really neat. It's really neat. I'm excited for. Obviously, I don't really have the game and I can't really like play it or anything. But I'm excited to like see like how people play it when it officially comes out on, I believe, October 13th. The
Mhm.
fighter pack is when it's released, and I'm also happy that people are happy. Obviously there's a little bit of controversy about it and everything, and I've been hearing some stuff about that and stuff that doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like, this is a lazy inclusion because like the animations and stuff are really basic, but that's exactly how the animations are from the game, and the whole thing is to try and keep this stuff as faithful to the original source material as you can while still making it, viable as a fighter. Um, like I see some people like preferring like seeing they would have preferred if they did stuff like how the animation for the Minecraft update trailers are done, but that really wouldn't be the same, you know.
Yeah,
Uh, so I
bro.
hear
The
stuff like that, and that makes me a little upset. But I think it's a little controversial, but I think a lot of the reception is generally positive. It was certainly a lot more positive than when Byleth got introduced, because that has a lot more dislikes
yeah,
than likes.
true. There definitely is like a lot of negative discourse around this, so which is kind of dumb, which I'll get into in a minute. But I want to say, like on the animation front, the fact that his taunts are literally what most Minecraft players do, you know, like that crouching,
Yeah, the
and
little
then
double crouch.
yeah, and then like the you know, when you used to be able to block in Minecraft with your sword, people would do that a lot.
Yeah.
Like the fact that those two are like his taunts, like he gets it, you know, like they get the game than the characters. But also just the fact that people are so mad about it kind of just like gets me. Like if you don't like Steve 100%, that's fine, you know, but it's like it's the discourse around it that gets kind of annoying where it's like, oh, like I saw one tweet that was like, oh, me and none of my friends are happy about it, but my 6-year-old was like screaming, being really excited. So that's the target audience. It was a negative comment. It was like, oh, that's the target audience. Target audience is 6-year-olds. You know,
Well,
they
I
don't
guess I'm
care
a 6-year-old then.
exactly
Shit, who would have thought?
because they were like, they don't care about us adults. Like, I'm an adult. Like,
a
this is
lot of
awesome.
the a lot of the big audience for Minecraft is like people who've grown up with the game because it's been out for a good little while now, about a
Yeah.
decade, a little over a decade at this point, you know, a little almost 11 years now. So like a lot of the people who initially like played this game a lot when it was out and when it was initially a big thing, we've grown up again and are a little nostalgic over it now. That's why Minecraft made like a big old comeback and shit here in the
Hmm.
recent years
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
I think people forget that, you know? Like, I think there's a lot of 6-year-olds playing the game now, you know? But, like, people forget that the game came out in, like, what, 2010, 2012. You know, like, people like us are adults now. We grew up with that game. When the game came out, we were obsessed with it. And now we're adults, you know? It's like people like us that played it when it came out. And then also the new generation playing it now that it's been out for 10 years, you know? It's like there's
Yeah.
not just 6-year-olds playing the game. There's so many people that are hyped about this game. I think it's so baffling to me that people are surprised that the main character from one of the highest grossing games of all time is in Smash Brothers.
Again, I think that has to do with like the Smash ballot stuff and how people were clamoring for characters like Steve, but it was like treated more as a meme. So because it was treated
Yeah.
like so much of a meme, no, like a lot less people really took it seriously, like a serious like competitor or anything. So I think that kind of like sort of set in mind like the general mindset that this is a meme character. No one's being serious about this. Therefore, it's not a serious consideration. Therefore, it's not seriously gonna be like in a part of this game ever.
Mm.
I think that's how like I think that has something to do with like how it was received by some people in particular, like with how it was seen, how it was treated like back then, like and now it's like it is an actual thing, and people are like, wait, what the fuck? This wasn't supposed to be serious. What?
Yeah, I can definitely I get getting annoyed at a million people clamoring for somebody. Like
Goku.
yeah, but like there's so many other like characters where I'm like I don't want this anymore because everyone keeps asking for it, like Gino or even K. Rool. Everyone was like, "Oh, I want K. Rool," and I'm like, "Stop!" Like it's kind of annoying, you know. It's fine, but now K. Rool's one of my mains. I love K. Rool, so it's like, and Sora's another one like that. Like I don't want Sora because everyone keeps asking, but I also just don't think Sora would really work well. Like I guess he would have a move set, obviously. I just like I don't know, something about his vibe. It's just not one I want in Smash. But if he was to come out, I wouldn't throw a fit about it, you know. So I
You have
guess
the
it.
whole Disney to deal with too behind that.
Yeah, true. Square Enix doesn't really play well. Clyde has like 2 songs in Smash. But yeah, I guess like the big takeaway is just kind of like if you're upset with it, just play him. You know, have an open mind. It's like people care about this character. Like, I get he's a blank slate in a creative
I
game, but it's like he's more than that. Like, he embodies the whole experience.
I think my favorite quote to sort of like coincide with this is by a YouTuber like named Maximilian Dude, I think, who's
Mm.
like a fighting game YouTuber essentially.
Yeah, he's
I
pretty
think,
cool.
yeah, I think something he said in regards, because I don't think he was very happy about the Steve announcement, but I think something he said in regards to it is, it's a dream come true, just not my dream come true.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
So
that's a perfect thing to kind of like remember.
yeah. So, like, you may not be happy with it, but try to keep in mind things like, there's a lot of other people that are also happy with it. That doesn't mean that you just can't be not happy with it, but, like, don't be a dick, basically.
I think things like, to wrap this up, I guess, it's like things like this are always weird to me. Like, I don't know how to explain this, but I see a lot of people calling like, "Oh, these fire passes are trash." But it's like, is it really? Are you really able to call it trash? It's weird, right? Because like I get not liking a pass if you don't like the characters in it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to, like, obviously if you don't like Persona or not Monster Hunter, or like Dragon Quest or Banjo, like things like that, yeah, you're not gonna like that Fighters Pass. But it's like, to call it trash is kind of like, bro, you gotta realize though, like, these are some of the biggest like franchises. So many people are like in love with these things. Like, it's not
Mm-hmm.
like a Dragon Ball fighting game adding in like another Goku or something else. Like, this is Smash. Like, you're adding in like most Nintendo characters you want are in the game now. So now it's down to like making this a celebration of video games. So it's like, you're
Right.
not gonna like every video game, but it's like every one of these characters has a fan base, has a strong attachment. People that like attach themselves to these like franchises. Even if something stupid as Freddy Fazbear in Smash, I would understand people being mad at that. But even that has such a big clamoring for people that aren't memeing, for people that love that series. It's like, I'm not saying he should be in the game, but it's like, even for someone as stupid as that, on the record, I love FNAF, one of my favorite franchises for the lore.
Making him an assist trophy.
I mean, that would even be cool too. But like, my point is, even as someone that's like stupid as Freddy Fazbear, it's like even he is like earns his space just because he's a gaming icon. If you get what I mean. So it's like,
Yeah.
part of me is like, if you're calling a DLC expansion for a story player game trash, I get it. You don't like the story, you don't like everything else. That makes sense to call that trash, I guess. But it's just weird for me for a collection of characters to call it trash. It's just weird for me. I mean, I guess you can do whatever you want. It's just like, I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but
Yeah.
good talk.
I got you. I got you, buddy. I got you. I don't have much more to add to it, but I got you.
All right, if you want to, we can get into Minecraft Live now.
Yeah, Minecraft Live, aka as I put in the notes, just really just the cave update.
I want to say, touching on Minecraft Live real quick, I
Yeah.
see the results for the mob vote on Minecraft's Twitter.
I thought we were gonna talk about that.
God damn it, guys.
Did you
Why
not
do you-
learn from the Phantom?
Why do you want a glow squid?
I think part of it is because, like, at least in those like little animations for like that were made to promote the vote, the glow squid was the one that you had like the least bit of information on. Like, basically they went to it, they were like, oh, this is distracting, and then that was it. Like, they didn't really do much else about it, so it, like, had this level of mystery to it, and guys are like, I want to find out more about this.
I mean,
Even-
it's like, I want a glow squid. I think it's cool. It could light up the caverns, it can light up like just oceans. It could be cool. But it's like against
Yeah.
the what is it, the
The
isologer?
Moon Bloom and the Isologer.
The Moo Boom's kind of like whatever. It's still cool though. They're all cool, but it's like the isologer just seems really cool though. Like ice magic, like that's something we don't really see.
And
Like,
it's
if they-
another hostile mob.
Mm. if they all got added, that would be cool. But it's like out of all of them, like I would like the Iceologer. Like it's a cool another, I don't know, hostile mob. And like the snow bombs don't have a lot in them anyways. Like polar bears, now goats, I guess. But it's like
Yeah, they have like what the strays as like
exact.
a unique kind of mob, and even then, that's just like a different skeleton that makes you slow.
Yeah, so it's like there's not a lot of like hostile mobs there.
Excuse me.
All right, now you can go on for 10 hours about Minecraft Live.
Can do, my friend.
Also, to make it clear, Minecraft's one of my favorite games of all time, which is why I got hyped for Steve.
As we were just talking about, we grew up with this game, so we have more to say about these subjects.
Yeah.
Uh,
I've been playing since. Hey, real quick, when have you been playing since? I'd say me, I've played.
I played since like the beta on PC.
Damn, I haven't played that long. I played when the Kindle Fire version came out, but also the Xbox 360 version around the start of Achievement Hunter. I'd say Achievement Hunter's Minecraft series was around kind of when I started playing. There wasn't too much into it at that time. I guess while you're talking, I guess I can pull up my achievements for like when the first time I got an achievement for Minecraft on 360.
Right. Okay. All right. So Minecraft Live, this neat little live stream that sort of talks about Minecraft news and what's coming up in the future and stuff. Obviously, things were done a little differently this year because of certain circumstances that are demonetization worthy. Uh, so
Sucks that that's true.
yeah, it really sucks, and it also hinders a lot of development kind of stuff too, because a lot of people generally have work from home and shit because of how things are.
Mm.
Um, so that all sucks. But they talked about a lot of things Minecraft. They talked about some Minecraft Earth stuff. They talked about Minecraft Dungeons, which is getting a new DLC,
I'm
which
so hyped
includes a
for
couple.
that.
Yeah, that includes a couple new dungeons. From what I've seen from the brief bits of gameplay, there's a dungeon that takes place on the cold mountaintops. It has some goats on there, which we'll talk about a little bit later. It's one of the more recent, newer mobs that are being added to the game. There are also seemingly going to be dungeons that take place in the Nether and in the End. I haven't actually played Minecraft Dungeons, so I don't know if dungeons like that were already in the game. But if they weren't, that's pretty neat. You're going across dimensions now.
Yeah, that's one thing that like I'm really excited for because like Minecraft Dungeons is a great game, and like the dungeons are cool, but it's like to go to like the end in the Nether would be sick. Like I'm so looking forward to that. I haven't played the two DLCs yet, and I was close to beating the game, the main game.
Hmm.
That reminds me, I kind of want to re-up my Game Pass subscription and beat that.
Right, right. And then I think there were also like underwater dungeons and stuff too. So it looks like you got a good variety of new dungeons. I think there's like some golden temple thing too, but that's neither here nor there. What I really want to talk about is the main game and the main edition, which is the Cave and Cliffs update. Whoo boy. uh, so the cave update is something that has been memed to death. It has been highly requested for a long ass time. People have wanted this for a while. People have really wanted an update to the caves because the caves have gotten a little stale. A lot of them have kind of blended together to be the same. You get a lot of the same ores and shit all the time. So there's not a lot of variety to them anymore. So people wanted to have more caves, more expansive stuff to explore within the caves, more reason to really delve into the caves and not just go to like Y15 or something and then just
Yeah.
go in a straight strip to find like diamonds and stuff. Like people wanted a reason to like actually go and look around at and explore caves. So what this cave update does is it adds a couple of new cave biomes, one of which is the lush caves, which will have like this new type of tree next to it to serve as like a kind of marker for that's what this kind of cave is going to be. I don't remember the name of the tree. And I don't know if it's like a completely unique tree, like it's its own set of wood and wood planks and everything. I don't know that for sure. I didn't pay much attention to that part because this is caves, not trees. Damn it. But the lush caves have like a lot of lush vegetation and stuff in them. A lot of flora dotted around. You know, some new flowers and other plant life, including this new food slash life source, which are the glowberries. These things you can eat that also provide light. They're like these yellow berries like kind of hang down on vines and stuff. So they provide some like natural light. You also have these like lily pad like flowers. You know, they're mainly on the water surface, but I think they can be like on actual solid surface too. For what I can tell, and I can't remember the name of them, but they're kind of like basically like platforming type flowers in that the stalks below them will grow, so like the plant itself will actually be raised up like several blocks from one another, so you could make like some pretty neat looking like staircase or something, natural staircase or something out of stuff like that, because they'll raise up to like different levels and you can be on top of them. um, there's also like the more expansive cave generation, like caves and stuff are a lot bigger, like a lot bigger. There are stalagmites and stalactites now, which was interesting. I didn't think that was something that they were really going to be fitting into Minecraft without it looking a little off. And I'm not too crazy about how it looks personally, but it's all right. But the stalagmites and stalactites, like I can't remember which one is which, but the ones that are on the roof, so, some of them will sometimes have water dripping from them, and that's like a renewable water source. Like you can put a cauldron or something underneath it, and it'll actively fill with water with each drip over time, which is pretty cool. And then the ones that are on the floor, I think it's both of them, but the ones that are on the floor will also act kind of like spikes, so they'll hurt when you like fall on them and shit. So that's pretty neat. You could like really set up like some like actual like fucking spike traps and shit with that kind of stuff, which is really neat, and I like it. There are also like these huge like natural rock pillars that are made of like different types of rock and stuff. It's basically it's in like the really big cave areas, and it's like a pillar, that basically stretches from the floor to the ceiling. So you got shit like that, and you also have like the caves themselves. I feel like are curved and stuff like a lot better. Like you'll actually like see like a really good like diagonal like ascension, I guess, to a natural ascension to the roofs, and that looks really neat. There's also like these sort of like submerged caves, which aren't like the submerged caves from like the aquatic update, where it's literally just a regular cave, but it's like filled with water and magma. Like it's actually like these big old caves that are filled with a lot of water, but there's like a surface to them as well, and like there's a lot of water, big old waterfalls and shit that contribute to like how there's like so much water in this place. And you can like like the gameplay showed like the dude riding down the waterfall in a fucking boat and just like plummeting down onto the water surface below, and like you're basically just like boating around in this big old cave. You're just literally going zipping all around in a fucking boat traveling this cave, and it's really neat and it's really cool and stuff. And then probably one of the most like interesting aspects to it is ties in with one of the new mobs. So there's another new cave biome, and it exists down like in the lowest, darkest parts of the game of Minecraft. Like it's really low down, really close to the bedrock, and it's called the Deep Dark. So it's like this really dark place. Gameplay showed like these like black candles or whatever that kind of seem like they have the same functionality as like the sea pickles or whatever. Like
Mm-hmm.
you place a bunch of them together, and then they like get brighter and brighter the more than you place, and you place them together in sets of four. So I think it's something like that, and that'd be neat. But they looked like legitimate candles. And then there was this stuff called like Sculp or something, and this was something that a lot of people liked because it was basically like wireless redstone. Like if you stepped on that actual terrain, then like the sculpt growth stuff would sense that, and then it would set off like a trigger, a sort of pulse, and like that ties in with redstone. So it's basically like wireless redstone. You can set things off just by like walking near it or walking on like that kind of surface and shit. So that was really cool. But it has another functionality, which is if you set off its little trigger, then it'll alert one of the new mobs in this update, which is called the Warden. And it is this big, kind of fucking terrifying, kind of terrifying mob that's completely blind. So it relies on the vibrations from this skulk stuff to sort of find out whether or not there's an intruder. And it's kind of like the Iron Golems, and like it's this really tough monster. And if it knows you're there, it's agitated against you and it's gonna start getting after you, like if you're really far away from it, it will actively move like a lot faster in order to get to you. It's one of the only mobs I've ever seen do that, where it'll actually move faster to catch up to you. And it was so scary because I never knew a Minecraft mob to do that before, so it really shook things up. Like, oh fuck,
Bro,
that thing really is really speeding up. Oh shit, it's next to me now.
bro,
Oh no.
the warden's so cool. It's gonna suck, but it's still cool.
Yeah, it's like got this like chest mouth with this blue beating heart in it, and then like I've never seen a Minecraft mob like that before. It looks so freaky. It looks so different from everything else. That's kind of what makes it great. Uh, but it's really scary. It seems like it has a lot of health, and it seems like it's gonna shake things up and make things a little more frightening. You know, like how it was when you first started playing the game, like how creepers were.
Yeah.
Because those things used to be scary. Now shields exist. Um, so I don't know how much a shield is gonna do against the warden, but whatever. Another interesting thing about that, things like the design of the warden, is one of the people who helped to make this update. I can't remember his name for the life of me, and I feel bad about that. But he was the guy who made the Aether mod. He was the guy who made that mod. So that was
Really?
really cool. Yeah. He made
That's
mods like the
cool.
Aether. I don't know if he was like responsible for things like the Aether 2 or anything, but he said he was modding the game for like 10 years and he was the one who made the Aether mod. I don't know if he was just one of the people who made that mod or if he was the person who made the mod. I think he was the person who made the mod, so but don't take my word for it. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. But
That's really cool though.
yeah, that is really cool and kind of makes stuff like the Warden make more sense. So that was really cool. And then you have stuff like the new materials, which you have stuff like the skulk and stuff, of course, but then you have stuff like these amethyst geodes, like which are these like sort of like rooms, I guess, that are all like of this purple stone, and there are these crystals that grow out of the stone. Apparently, you cannot break those blocks, like you just can't, which is kind of weird. It's
Hmm.
basically like bedrock; you can't break it or anything. Apparently, but you can take the crystals and you can harvest the crystals from it, and I think you can use the crystals to grow new geode patches. I think. And what you can use the crystals for is one of the builds, not one of the builds, but like one of the new craftable items that you can make. And I think that's one of the only uses for the crystals right now. But I'm sure they'll expand on it more in future updates now that it's a new like material that you're using for stuff. Um, so there's that, and then there's a new ore, which is copper, which surprisingly enough, I don't think you can make tools or armor with it, which is strange, because like copper is a metal, like iron and gold and shit. So that was a little strange, but what you can make are two new items. One of which is the telescope, which basically allows you to zoom in on things, look at things from far away a little closer. and then a lightning rod, which directs the attention of lightning. So if you got like any big old builds that are made of wood or wool or something, you can use lightning rods to kind of prevent the lightning from striking those structures and lighting them on fire and stuff. So that's pretty neat. You
Hmm.
can also use copper to make, copper blocks and slabs and stuff. So you can make builds using copper too. And the interesting thing about that is, the copper is all orange and stuff. But the longer those blocks are sat out, the more like green they'll become over time as they'll start to rust and stuff until they become just a solid old green, which is pretty neat and pretty interesting. I don't know if there's like a way you can like just keep it as the orange if some people like that and want to keep it that way. I don't know if that's possible. I kind of hope it is because that would kind of suck if like you just want the orange old copper blocks, but they're just gonna turn green no matter what.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. Um, so there's those new things, a new ore, a new material, and a couple items you can make with them. And then there's this new mob, another new mob that's called the axolotl. I think I'm
So
saying
hyped
that.
for it.
Yeah, I think I'm saying that right. I posted a picture of it of an axolotl on Twitter to celebrate. It's like this. It's like this cute old sea creature mob, and I think how it works is that you can capture it in a bucket, and then like if you go back into the water and then release it from the bucket, it'll like follow you around and it'll join you and it'll like fight with you and stuff. And apparently they're supposed to be really useful against like the guardians and stuff. And they have like there's I think they have an ability that's like gives them like healing properties. And then like the guys hinted at the idea that like if you fight a lot with them and you're really close with them, there's a possibility they may heal you too. I don't know what that means, but that sounds pretty cool. I don't know if there's like a fucking companionship meter or something. I highly doubt it, but um, I wonder how it leaves me curious to like see how something like that would work. I uh, I think that's like the big like really big meat of what the update has to offer so far. So, oh yeah, fucking, I almost forgot. Goats. Goats are
Goats.
gonna be a thing. Yeah, they won the biome vote from this previous year, because you got like the option of expanding upon the desert. I think the swamp with the frogs, the desert with the ostriches, and then the mountains with the mountain goats. So the mountain goats seem pretty cool. They're small little things. They can jump up pretty fucking high, and they can ram you pretty fucking far. Like, like when I was watching the demonstration, there's this cow just chilling, and then the goat just straight up fucking yeeted the cow off the mountain. It wasn't a high mountain, so like it wasn't like launching it to its death or anything, but it launched it pretty far down a little hill. So that was pretty neat. So I think that's like most of what the update has to offer. I think there are also some other little things like I think it's for Bedrock Edition, but creator tools got expanded upon, so you can make like custom blocks and stuff now. And I also think there's this thing about like archaeology where like I don't know if it's a Bedrock Edition thing or an Education Edition thing or if it's just in the game, but there's this archaeology thing where you'll go explore the world and you'll find these archaeology sites, excavation sites, and then you'll find brushes, and then you can go and use the brushes to like sift up gravel and dirt, and you'll find like these different artifact things. You'll mostly find like, I think some loot like you could have a chance of finding like an emerald block or something, but you'll also mainly find these like different like fucking clay shards or whatever, and it has like different artwork and stuff on it, and then you can go to like these actual like clay pots, and then you can like put these different artwork pieces on those pots, and then like light a fire underneath those pots in order to like actually make it a proper pot. So from the gray clay to like the orange reddish kind of like fully what is it, kilned clay, uh,
Yeah.
to make like an official pot with the artwork and stuff being imbued into it, which seems pretty neat. The artwork is nothing to really, not much to look at, but I think it was just this really minor thing that was set up, and then like as more work is done to it, like the actual like artists that are on the development team will actually make like more proper like looking artwork and stuff to put on it. So that seems pretty cool, but it also seems pretty weird. Getting a brush and like just going into this little pit and then like brushing around like dirt blocks and shit to find stuff. Like it seems like such a specific thing, and it's kind
Dude,
of weird.
Minecraft is such a different game now.
It really is. It really is. It went from some like pretty basic survival elements and some relatively cool like building stuff out of a bunch of like solid like square blocks to like this fucking like RPG shit, and you got like a bunch of slabs and staircases that you can use to make some crazy roofs and like heavily detailed stuff and all that.
It's fantastic. I love this.
Yeah, it's a neat game.
I don't have much to say on it because there's a lot of information to take in.
It's a lot.
But, like,
I know I
even
rambled
just
a lot.
no, even just that like trailer they released for it had me extremely hyped. I want to like watch more of the streams stuff tonight to kind of like absorb everything.
Yeah.
But it's definitely gonna make me just dive back into Minecraft for sure. Things like
I might
bundles and
play it.
everything are really gonna get me hyped.
Yeah, I might play it some more this week. Just for the next week's podcast. Just play a little bit more of it to get immersed back in that nostalgic factor a bit. It's
That'd be nice.
Yeah, I'm excited for the warden and shit. That's probably the thing I'm most excited about is the fucking warden, because it looks so out there and creepy and shit. And I like the fact that it's such a different mob. It functions a lot differently from how most other mobs in the game function. For one, it's blind, and for two, it actually increases its speed if you're further away from it. Again, I'm really racking my brain over that.
Yeah, I'm just hyped in general for the cave update to finally have another reason to dig in the caves, because
Yeah.
like you said, like I'd always just go down to like Y12 and just start digging. I'm still gonna do that because that's the best thing to do, but it'll still be
It's
cool to
efficient.
like explore the caverns and everything.
Yeah. The update itself is slated to come out, I think, sometime in not September, but summer, 2021. So, summer of next
It's
year.
so long.
Yeah, I think that was the same for the Nether update, right? Because that just came out a couple months ago. It was summer of this year, so I
Yeah.
think it was announced a good
I mean, it was
while
in
ago.
it was in Snapshot like a little bit after it got announced, but yeah, it just recently came out officially.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be a little while before we see any more of the update, but I think we'll have a good few months of snapshots to like really get a feel for it before it'll actually like be a officially released thing. So if you use snapshots and stuff, you could definitely get into some of that content pretty early if you're really excited about seeing what it has to offer.
Yeah, I think I might check out some of the snapshots. But
Yeah.
I'm tired, so let's move on to our last thing, which is our main topic, but I don't think we're going to spend too much time on it because you've probably seen a million different podcasts report on this already. But Microsoft has purchased ZeniMax Media for $7.5 billion.
So
And
ZeniMax Media, basically Bethesda.
It's Bethesda's parent company.
Okay, alright.
So the fact that they didn't just buy Bethesda, they bought the people that own Bethesda.
We own the people who own Bethesda.
That's a flex right there. That's a power move.
It's a real pro gamer move,
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say on it that you probably haven't heard already, but I think my big thing is I think it's amazing. There's three things that I think come out of this. It's amazing value for Game Pass. I mean, Doom Eternal literally just got added to Game Pass like this week. So they're already putting like their games on there. And then B, exclusives. There's no way they are buying Bethesda for $7.5 billion Mark my words. Hold me to this. There's no way they're buying Bethesda for $7.5 billion and allowing Elder Scrolls 6 to go on PS5.
They gotta
There's
get the
no
exclusive
way.
rights for Fallout 77.
And that's another thing. There's also no way they're gonna let Bethesda make another 76. Like, I think a lot of people like to clown on Xbox, but they're not dumb. I highly doubt they're gonna let Bethesda make another 76. They're gonna be like, "Oh, you're making a Fallout game? Make a traditional one." Or if they're
Make
gonna
it
make
good.
yeah, make it good. Or if they do another online one, like, it's not gonna be as stupid as 76. That's wishful thinking, but like, I really don't think Xbox is that dumb to let them do something like that again.
Hmm.
But like, there's no way they're spending that much money, and Elder Scrolls 6 is not gonna be exclusive. There's no way it's not gonna be. I
Oh
could
yeah.
they said that exclusives were gonna be on a case by case basis, meaning some of their smaller ones, like if they make another Prey, okay, that can go to PlayStation. Fallout, probably Xbox. Elder Scrolls, Xbox exclusive. There's no way it's not.
Hmm.
And I think my last big thing is I think this could be a big shakeup in how Bethesda makes their games because they always use their
The
creation
creation
engine.
engine.
Yeah, they always use that same creation engine that hasn't changed. I could see Xbox being like, "Bro, you own id. Id made the id Tech engine. It's an amazing engine. You're using that now."
You have no choice in this matter.
Bro, they shouldn't have a choice. Like,
They shouldn't.
they're being stubborn with the engine they use. Like, I get it. Like, it's classic. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows how to break it. Like, they get it. It's funny. They like their mod community, but it's like it's breaking the games though. Like, I get having an engine that your modders know how to use, but it's like their bugs have gone past the point of being funny.
Yeah.
Like, it really they need an engine shakeup, and id has already made the id Tech engine, id Tech 3, I think, that they use for Doom Eternal. And that's an amazing engine. Doom Eternal turned out amazing. Just use that. You own that engine.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. They need to get with the times, man.
So anything else like you really like that strikes you about this deal?
Uh, not in particular. I think he touched on like the real major points that I was thinking of, mainly that about like the fucking, uh, quite possible, most likely, exclusivity of like some of their main titles right now, which is the Elder Scrolls, Fallout. I guess they work on Doom too now, don't they? They're ones behind the Doom 2016 and
Yeah.
Eternal. Bethesda is.
Yeah, id makes Doom, but Bethesda publishes it because Bethesda owns id.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So id makes it just like Arcane makes Dishonored, but they own all those, so they publish the games.
Right. So id made the engine itself that the Doom games run into, right?
Yeah, id Tech 3, I think.
Okay, so yeah, why didn't they just start using that?
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, their main thing has always been like I said, oh, our modders know how to use it, or like, oh, it's classic, but it's
I get
they
it's a new
always.
engine they have to learn, but it's better to take the time to learn it so that way you can make better games.
Mhm. Yeah, it's like if people are already modding in games, they can take the time to learn a new engine. Like, I know a lot of modders that they're easily able to just be like, oh, it's a new engine, I'll learn it, and then they do it. It's like it's not worth like risking your game's integrity, and I think Microsoft understands that. They're not
Hmm.
gonna want a new Fallout or a new Outer Scrolls or even Starfield to come out and it's buggy and it runs bad and they have to fix it, or like they end up never fixing it. Like, Xbox doesn't want that. They're gonna put their foot down. I've heard some rumors that there's already a shakeup in the company. Like, they're already kind of like pushing new engines like towards them, and they're already kind of like overseeing, because they've said they're not gonna like be over their shoulders, but they're still gonna be like, I'm sure if they have an idea, they still have to go to Phil Spencer, like the head of Xbox. They still have to go to Xbox, be like, hey, this is what we want to do. But they said they're still gonna like partner, but they're not gonna be like over their shoulder. But I'm sure this is one of the things where like, okay, if you're under us, we need you to kind of like shake up the engine. So I've heard the production of Starfield is kind of shaking up a little bit. Like they're ramping
Mm.
more into that, and they're kind of like working with different tech on that. Starfield itself, this isn't even a topic on our show, but like it's leaked so much this week. There's like screenshots and stuff of that game already leaking.
Is there?
Yeah, there's been a few screenshots that leaked that look pretty cool, but I still don't really know what the basis of the game is gonna be.
Is Starfield like a reboot of an older series, or is this just a completely new IP?
I think they've said it's Bethesda's new IP.
Okay, alright. That was the major question that I had.
Yeah, I guess that's all I really have to say on it. Like, I'm hyped to see what it. I'm hyped to see the future, you know. And like, as much as I'm a PlayStation guy, this is big for Xbox, right? And I think Sony guys are kind of, I wouldn't say dumb, but like a little naive for saying it's not a big deal because it kind of is, you know.
Yeah.
Like from being a Sony guy, this is a big deal. I think everyone's like calling Bethesda trash now because they made a couple games that have been kind of like eh.
As
But
underwhelming as some of the newest games in their franchises have been, those franchises are still big franchises with dedicated fan bases.
exactly. And like people forget like it's not just BGS. It's not just Bethesda Game Studios. It's everyone they own too. Arcane, you know, ZeniMax Online, id, like all those like studios. So like Doom Eternal, which has already came out and most people are claiming it, including me, that it's one of the best shooters of all time. You have things like Dishonored, Deathloop coming out that looks cool, which is they're still it's going to be a PS5 timed exclusive and they're still going to honor that. But still like Bethesda has good games besides just Fallout 76 and then whatever you think of Fallout 4, you know? Which I think Fallout 4 is amazing, but I'm in the minority in that conversation. But it's a big deal. And there's rumors of Xbox buying Sega at some point, which I'm 50-50. I think it could be like whatever, but I also think it could be true. I don't think Sega's floundering, but I think they could use a little help, you know? I think
Yeah.
having Xbox on that would help both of them. And
Hey,
especially Xbox get go ahead.
if Xbox does get control, like ownership of Sega, hey, maybe they can get Sega to start using some of their older IPs instead of just using Sonic all the time.
Honestly.
I mean, to be fair, they've kind of been using like the Yakuza one like a lot
Mhm.
more, but they're kind of milking that off too.
Yeah, it's like Sonic and Yakuza is really the only ones they really acknowledge anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I want to see Nights into Dreams again, but I think the people who worked on that game, or I think some people from the old Sonic team are making this new game called Balan Wonderland, which seems pretty promising. It's another like old classic style like 3D platformer, and it's like one of those things where you have like different costumes that serve as power ups and stuff.
Mhm.
It seems pretty neat. I'm relatively hyped for it.
That sounds pretty dope.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out. But yeah, I think if they got Sega, it would really help Xbox get into the uh, Japanese market more, which
Oh yeah, that's a good
they
point.
really need. But that's all I have to say. If you have anything else to add about any of this, anything we've talked about.
Nope.
Oh, one last thing. We didn't touch on the Mii costumes. And
Oh
like
right, the fucking me costumes,
we
right?
don't have to read them all out, but I just want to say the idea of the creeper and the pig just
Oh
fucking
yeah, having
body checking
the
people.
they have the floating arms and legs too.
That was so funny because they're both brawlers, so they just like just check people.
I kind of felt that way about the creeper, and then I saw the fucking pig come out of nowhere, and I was like, yeah. They also have like the diamond armor, since the actual Steve and Alex characters don't really use armor in their
Mm.
movesets and stuff. They don't really have that kind of feature. And then there are other ones like this Gil sword. There's this Gil guy who's from an old action RPG from Japan called I think the Tower of Druaga. I hope I'm saying that right. Not one I'm touching on much because I don't know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have like a Bomberman outfit, which was pretty cool to see. It's pretty cool to see some Bomberman rep. We haven't really gotten a lot of that since like I think Bomberman R, which was a Switch title. Uh,
Yeah.
and then and then the one that I was and then the one that I like the most, other than the pig, of course, is
I'm gonna use the pig.
motherfucking Travis Touchdown from the No More Hero series being a Mii costume, which I didn't think was possible. That came out of nowhere for me. I didn't think Travis Touchdown was gonna have anything to do with fucking Smash Brothers, but I'm happy to see it. Like, don't get me wrong.
When I was watching that, they showed Bomberman. I was like, oh shit, they just deconfirmed Bomberman. I mean, he has an assist trophy, so he kind of already was, but now they like legit deconfirmed him. But then Travis Touchdown showed up, and I was like, shit, they deconfirmed Travis? I thought for sure they were gonna put Travis in there. Honestly, with No More Heroes 3 coming out, I thought Steve was gonna be Travis Touchdown. I thought that's who they were about to announce. I'm so surprised they deconfirmed him. Honestly,
Interesting.
I do really feel bad for Travis supporters.
No,
But
it's fine. To be fair, I never thought he was gonna get in at all, just because it's one of those series where, like, obviously it's like got a lot of violence and gore and stuff. I think it's an M-rated game, kind of. Bayonetta was kind of like that too. But in the case of things like No More Heroes, it touches upon some pretty dark fucking subjects. Like the whole thing with the final boss of the first game, which I won't spoil. But like, there's this thing where they like basically fast forward the dialogue. Funny, haha, because like this is kind of dragging on, so we need to really speed this up. We don't have time for expansive villain monologue, so they actually like speed it up, like fast forward, like it shows like the DVD overlay and everything. But if you actually play that like in normal speed, there's a pretty dark fucking backstory that gets revealed, and it's like,
jeez.
Jesus Christ. So this series is kind of gone into some dark places before, and like for reasons like that alone, I never really expected any No More Heroes representation. So the fact that like there's a Mii costume available for motherfucking Travis Touchdown was pretty exciting to see for me personally. I still consider it a win.
see, I get you, but also like I just feel like they've been partnering with like, was it Matsuda? Is it like? Or I think it's someone else, but they've like been partnering with him so much
51.
recently. Masuda, yeah, they've been partnering with them like so much recently. Like his games are in the Nintendo Directs a lot more than I've ever really noticed. Or like they've been kind of like he's been there on a lot of the Directs. He was there, I'm pretty sure, on the reveal of the Switch. So I feel like they've been partnering with him so much and like talking about No More Heroes. I just thought Travis Touchdown would be in
Okay, you see,
Smash,
I
which
didn't know that.
so that makes sense. But it's like I still thought he would be in Smash, which I guess yeah, he did become in Smash, but I always thought he had a chance to be a fighter. But maybe I'm sure Sakurai maybe thought about it and was like, can't really do much with his moveset, which I respect. At least he's in the game. He got some kind of rep.
Yeah. I mean, like, I didn't think he was gonna get in there. I didn't think Sans was gonna get in there either, but lo and fucking behold.
Oh yeah, we never did talk about it's probably too late, but Undertale had its what
More information
five
released about
year
Chapter
thing?
2.
Yeah, it's like 5 year anniversary thing. He touched on more things about Deltarune.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it might be a little late for that. It's kind of been out there for a little while now. I think most
Yeah.
people know about it. But it's
And
still exciting.
with that concludes our show, people.
Hey, we didn't take like 2 to 3 hours this time.
I know, it's a godsend, right?
Aren't you proud of us, Dad?
Mine's not. Anyway, not gonna spend too long wrapping this up. Follow the socials. Click every link in the description if you feel like it. Just do it, even if you don't. Have a nice day, everybody, and we'll catch you on the flippity flop flop.
That's our outro now.
Peace out.
See ya. Goodbye.